So this first react was sent to me by who was it? Oh, I scrolled up too far. I have to scroll down. Zohas on Discord, and this one's really interesting. It was a Twitch clip that I can click and watch Day 9 TV stream. So Day 9, like one of the OGs of Twitch, just very respected in the gaming community and commentator on games in general, right? He talked about Star Citizen on his stream. So we're gonna watch that together. I caught just a tiny bit of it, and it was interesting enough that I wanted to share it with you guys on stream. So really, really cool here. Let's see what you guys think.
Warfare, though. Ooh, that sounds pretty spicy.
I think it starts out with Eve a little bit.
Eve Online has always been really interesting to me. Eve Online, I feel like... and
then it switches over.
I'm going to say some sacrilegious shit as someone that's not played the game. My understanding of Eve Online is that the universe and the world and the trading and the thrill of maneuvering around is rad. But the actual combat and interaction, it's not good.
Yeah.
You know what? I've decided I need to exaggerate this.
Star Citizen's
my understanding
right
is that
now
the combat
either,
interaction may as well be you sip a cup of coffee, hit spacebar to fire the missile, and that is the only action you can do in combat because it's awful.
That's sort of what I've heard about it as well.
I don't know if I'm correct on that. I'm just saying this. But yeah, so my understanding of EVE Online has always been with respect to the politics, the large wars,
the
complexity of building up your ship, the min-maxing of that, and that the actual combat itself is deprioritized in favor of all these other things. That's maybe an actual accurate thing to say. And I've always been interested in something that's kind of EVE-like in that world sense, but you actually have a character and you're individually like going out battling and shit. Yeah, Thursday 42 says, I would hate playing EVE, but goddamn, the histories of EVE Online books are an amazing read. Oh yeah,
there's the histories of EVE Online?
Empires of EVE is the name of the book by Andrew Groen. It's really good.
That sounds cool. I didn't know that. That's what excites me about EVE is the story.
I gotta be honest, I'm pretty excited about it.
So now he's talking about Star Citizen.
Oh, I'm pretty excited for Star Citizen, which has so much more content and gameplay than I feel like the internet gives it credit for. So much.
Okay, okay. First, very excited to hear that he's excited, but next, I'm kind of curious of where he's going to go with so much content.
Much more.
That's interesting to me. Okay, he's finishing his food first.
Fraud Citizen. Yeah, on the topic of Star Citizen. Here's the thing that I find really interesting about Star Citizen. Okay, so up to like a year or two ago, my understanding of Star Citizen was kind of like the Reddit /r/games opinion, which is like, wow, this big pile of fraud has scooped in $500 million and doesn't have a damn thing to show for it, right?
It has a lot to show for it, but it's not. It doesn't have what you would hope.
I decided to go on a deep dive and just learn about what's going on in the game.
Okay. I wonder what he learned.
And here's the thing. Let me begin by prefacing all of this by saying they made a lot of promises that kept not being true timeline-wise.
Okay.
This is going to be ready next December.
Yep.
Next December rolls around.
He's talking about server meshing.
We don't have it, but in next year's December, we're going to have something even better. And then
yeah, no, it's actually, they've been saying that they're going to have the same thing for 3 years in a row, Day 9. The same thing. And we're still waiting for that thing. But he's right. There's no excuse for that.
The next thing happened. no, we still don't have anything, but the next year, like that communication shit did happen. Make no mistake about it. That
It's
literally is
terrible.
observable.
Stop
What I
pausing.
wanna
Then
do
you
is-
should have watched the
I want
stream,
to
dude.
explain my
Why are
sort of
you here?
piercing the veil of what goes on in Star Citizen from a gameplay perspective. Is, again, imagine you're me. It's the start of 2021 or 2022, right? Yeah, start of 2021,
Okay.
and I started to step in and learn more about the game
All right.
and what it looks like. First of all, there is a shitload of astonishing playable content.
I'm having a hard time with this one. The playable content part. What's the definition of content for people? Like, I know Day 9's like real deep in games, and game devs use the word content in a different way than players use it. Content is like questing and missions and tangible, like lots of depth. Content from a game design perspective is something entirely different. So let's see what he says here.
Like, a buddy of mine invited some friends to like fly to a certain lake on a planet and watch the sunrise. And that's the sort of thing that would have art directors and animators
Excuse
like
me?
carefully controlling the visuals of a pre-rendered thing to make it look nice. But all of this was just being generated dynamically by the fact that it was in a solar system. And it's like, hey, you see that space station that we flew from? It's right there, and you can barely see it.
Okay,
And if
so
we took
that's
off on our ship, we could fly to it. Like, the tech is unbelievable.
so the tech and that's content, and it's like, okay, but that's only cool so many times, right? But I get what he's trying to say. That's content, and he's appreciating the cool stuff that they've done. That if you watched like a really well done pre-rendered trailer from another game company, it would look like what it looks like live in Star Citizen. Okay.
I started to learn more about people that just largely stream and play Star Citizen and are just playing and experiencing gameplay stuff.
Hello. Yeah.
And I was like,
It's possible to do
oh
that.
my god. The physics and nuance of the motion of controlling a ship in zero gravity has been thoughtfully created and all this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's fucking incredible. And the thing that's interesting is that not only are they continuing to make money, the rate at which they are making money is accelerating.
Yes.
It is going up.
Which, given the rate at which Star Citizen's progress as a game is accelerating, it's wild to see that, because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But when you hear the perspective of Day 9 and you hear the perspective of other new players, it does start to make a lot more sense. Like, obviously there's just like, burned out, miserable content creators like myself that are just like, wow, there's nothing else to do. I've already done it 20 times. There's still a lot to be desired for me, but there's still so much excitement for people that are new, right?
And one of my friends started to get really deep into the game and literally is going to these like meetups, these they're
Dude,
called,
I
like,
wonder-
bar citizens, something like this.
That's crazy. I wonder if he like went to the Florida one and I actually saw
it's
this buddy or something.
Ridiculous diversity of people.
Oh, yeah.
Where you have
yeah.
like young kids that are interested in sci-fi. You have like, he conversed with some people in their 60s and 70s that were just really interested in.
Yep. There's not young kids though.
Grew up being really interested in airplanes
I've not
as a
seen that.
technology. And now are really fascinated by like ships, and they get to experience and play that, and of course everyone in between.
It really doesn't have the young kid demographic yet, but it might.
What I sort
day.
of changed my understanding to,
The barrier to entry is too high.
Citizen, is not that Star Citizen is a game that is endlessly bloating its features and will never release. I treat Star Citizen as a game that is literally released, giving people gameplay content, creating
Yep.
events like Bar Citizens to let people connect to each other, releasing really rich update posts that cause a lot of player engagement.
Okay.
And as a form of gameplay, right? Like reading a long article, discussing the back and forth with the devs, being able to hop into your ship, see the changes from the blog. Like, all that is gameplay, kind of in the same way that, like, if I am sitting here in my deck builder, I'm not playing the game, but I'm moving pieces around and thinking, let me try to shift these pieces around.
Most of Star Citizen's gameplay is very much like what he's describing. It's a deck builder. It's the background, and you're just interacting with your community. If you're a streamer, I still am kind of mind blown by the players who interact with the game on a regular basis because they just enjoy what's already there completely. Those are people that I don't quite understand yet.
Imagining how the deck might play out, and that's
I just played MMOs with a lot of depth, and
now, and of course,
that's what I look for in
emphasize,
games, and I don't get that here.
This has nothing to do with the fact that, yes, Star Citizen and I don't remember what the name of the
Cloud
company
Imperium,
is. Whatever.
Yeah.
Star Citizen folk. They promised stuff, didn't deliver, escalated the awesomeness of the promise, didn't deliver again, and have done that like a bunch of times. Like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, get me the fuck out of here. Cloud Imperium Games. But what's I thought it was like, it's like Howard Space Industry. Oh yeah, Roberts Space Industry.
Howard Space.
Roberts. Yeah.
Yeah, the worst website name of all time.
I don't know the difference between them. So, this is probably what we're going to be playing today.
HSI, yes, guys, HSI.
And so I kind of view them. Robert Space Industries is an in-game company. Oh my god. Thank God you're here, Voodoo Dog. I would have been unable to understand any of this shit. You're leaving a number of helpful remarks. Thank you. But yeah, so like I now view Star Citizen as like a... Here's the statement. Mike Fury says, do you have any friends developing for Star Citizen? No, I don't know any of the developers there. Wish I did. Love to know more about what they do. I'm sure I could email them and they'd answer me, but fuck,
yeah, they definitely
woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. I'm not doing fucking the dishes today. Are you kidding me? Let alone emailing someone to ask about their work. But here's a thought experiment I want to share with you. Here's a thought experiment. If you had as much time and resources as you needed to make an MMO that would blow every previous MMO out of the water. Oh, let me interrupt my point. NK Wraith says, I haven't bought the game, but I appreciate your thoughts on it. I just think it's crazy how much money it's made versus how complete the game is. Well, I think there's one thing that I want to note that is can sometimes be a little bit of an optical illusion, NK Wraith. If we take something like Hearthstone, like 8 people shipped Hearthstone, and then their team grew to, I don't know, somewhere between 40 and 100. I'm giving a pretty fat range for myself. But let's go to the high end of the range, right, of like 100 people. And let's just, arbitrarily, to make the math simple, let's say those 100 people each get exactly $100,000 a year. Just to make the math simple, right? So, 100,000 times 10, or 100,000 times 100. Why can't I do that math? 10 million. There we go. Thank God. It's 10 million a year.
Okay.
Now, let's round this up to, say, 20 to 30, because of various other marketing costs, and Battle.net is a whole department at Blizzard and has their stuff to do, and there's probably extra stuff. It wouldn't surprise me if people got paid more than that, too. But, you know, say 20 million a year. Hearthstone came out in, I think,
2017?
End of 2013, start of 2014.
What?
So if you took 20 million...
Wow. Dude, time has flown.
Took 20 million, you multiplied it by 10-ish years. That's 200 million bucks. And I'm doing a lot of approximation and a lot of rounding. But if you look at the game
Star
Hearthstone,
Citizen
and you
has
say
not been
Hearthstone took
successful.
200, and I do think 200
In
million is
terms
probably
of,
a little
like,
bit low for the
what he's
total
talking
amount of
about
money
here.
that they have ever spent in the lifetime of the game. Or similarly, League of Legends.
Both games came out at the
League
same
of Legends
time.
spends a shitload of money every year on League of Legends.
Yeah.
And if we summed all that up, it would not surprise me if League of Legends, for instance, over the lifetime of League, had spent between 1 and 2 billion just on the game.
Yep.
It would not surprise me.
Hearthstone,
And what I'm trying to note is that
has exceeded
we often think
Star
about
Citizen in
games
terms
as
of how much it's made.
take to first be in the hands of players. How much it take to first be in the hands of players. You hear like, oh, this company raised $30 million. Marvel Snap is the company I'm referencing, and now they released Marvel Snap. So did Marvel Snap cost $30 million? Well, they're earning money. Maybe in 5 years' time, they will have spent another $30 million on it. Yada, 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 yada. And so I think that the weird
this
thing
guy
about
slams these
comparing
drinks.
Star Citizen to other games is
What
that
are
if
they?
I say Star Citizen has not yet released, and I will only write down its price tag upon its 1.0 launch. Yeah, it's going to be $600-700 million.
Probably more.
But if I
Probably
ask,
more.
Okay, if I treat this as a game that has been out for 7 years or something like this, I don't know. Seems reasonable as a cumulative number.
Yes, it is.
Similar
the
to
funding
again,
number is
Rockstar
reasonable.
Still releasing content for their, or still needs to
Especially
spend money to support their online modes.
I'll pause for a second. Especially for the where they're trying to push, you know? What is he drinking, by the way? It's like orange. Looks like a blood orange or something.
Pinky extension.
That looks very good.
So I'm of the opinion when it comes to Star Citizen that here's the thought experiment that Rachel Avedano had heard earlier. That with Star Citizen,
All right,
I
here we
feel
go.
like if you said, Sean, you have infinite time and resources to make an MMO that blows all other MMOs out of the water, that just blows them out of the water.
Is Star Citizen that game, though? From like your traditional MMORPG player, I'm not sure, but it's definitely interesting.
How much time would that
And
take
could
for
potentially
you to make something
Yeah.
that would blow them all out of the water? And of course, we need to be semi-reasonable. We can't be like, well, if I had $40 trillion and each country had to recreate itself, like, where, I mean, like, money is no object within reason. How long would it take? A lot of big AAA games are like 3 or 4 years these days.
Yeah.
Or if you're from Soft, it's like 2 years. But if you need to make like all the systems and you really want to do something different where you're going to have to do testing at an extraordinarily large scale, so you're going to need to bring in a lot of people and have a lot of elaborate technology, and you're going to need to have a lot of content, you're going to need to vet and test a lot of systems, and the art's going to need to be really high quality, and it's going to need to handle all the various rendering issues that come with a potentially vastly scaling amount of people. I think that 10 to 15 years to try to do something really next generation seems reasonable. I think that seems reasonable.
Okay.
And again, I'm not trying to say
I've had that kind of... I'm not, in game dev, like in deep as much as Day 9 probably is, but the more I've looked at like other games like Ashes of Creation and other MMOs and how long the Riot MMO's been worked on and how long, blah, 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 right? How long things take. It does seem more reasonable that we're in the place that we are with Star Citizen today. It's just exactly what he's pointed out with their communication has made it such a tumultuous, or I can't say that word, relationship, like just been really rough between the backer and the dev studio.
everything that has gone on with Star Citizen is great. As you've heard me say many, many times, and I'll continue to stress, I recognize that they've made promises that they have not hit, and then blown the promises even higher and then not hit those and so on. But I think that if I say, okay, well,
Pause,
if
champ.
I were trying to make something that were trying to be a next generation MMO, and I had all the money in the world, how long would it take? I'm starting to think like, man, fuck, I think Star Citizen, that is playable and has a lot of rich content, a lot of amazing stuff in it, I think it's way farther along than I ever would have imagined when I looked into it at the start of last year.
Yeah, it's just the way they go about it. Like, I want, if I could have been in the same room as him right now, I would say, what do you think about this? Well, like exactly what Zeus typed. What do you think about them, building planets and making things look very pretty before you ever, designed basic, like, how you mount around the world and, character animation and general game design is very much up in the air. No economy, no any of that. But the world is what's sort of been holding the game back. I'd like to pick his brain about that and what he thinks about that aspect of it. That would be very interesting to me.
For that reason, I think that it wouldn't surprise me if in 4 or 5 years,
because that's not how most games are designed.
Everyone's like, yo, dude, Star Citizen's pretty fucking sick.
I think he's right, though. I think that's what's going to happen.
You and I will all be citizens together. All right, I got to fucking play this game.
It sounds like he's done. Let's see.
40 minutes for Marvel Snap Start.
Yeah, I think that's it. But, yeah, that's actually when...
What am I looking at?
Yeah, that's it. So that was really interesting. He has a really, like, reasonable take on the game, but just never discussed, like, the longevity of playing the game now, which is something that, like, I've really wanted to do and really tried to do, and it can get very frustrating. Is like trying to play the game as if it's a game day in and day out is impossible because it's not a thing. I mean, I think I mentioned it on stream today, like to 2 or 3 people that were like, it should really be like this when talking about a specific thing in the game. Like, I don't know, salvaging or something, right? And it's like, no, it just really needs to work and that's it. And they just need to see if it works. And then, things like the economy and all that stuff will make more sense later. I think people were talking about like upping claim timers and the consequence for deaths and things like that now because there's salvage and there's soft death and there's all these things. Now we need to do all this stuff. And it's like, no, now we just need to see if soft death works and that's it. But yeah, very interesting. I've definitely had a love-hate relationship with the game over these years, but the more and more I hear other people's opinions and the more things like what Day 9 said seems more reasonable to me. And I'm just, going to try to have fun with what's in front of me and sort of play it as a background game while we just chat about stuff and less of like the game needs to be this way now because it can't. The only thing that I'm really going to fight on is like, what are you doing, Tony Z, and where's the economy? Because that is a separate thing from the game experience. That is a separate thing happening on a separate server that, what's going on with that? I want to hear more about that because that's kind of the leg that the game will stand on, more than anything. If there was, multiple legs that the game, pillars or whatever, the most weight I think would be put on that one. So I want to hear more about that. But yeah, it's very interesting the way he described it. I will link a clip on Twitch. If you click watch the full video, it will start at the start of where we watch this video. This is not a YouTube video. This is a Twitch stream. So it's a weird like timestamp issue. Twitch is like really bad with that stuff. So I'll link the clip to you guys and then you guys can watch it on your own. And Day 9's just a legend on Twitch and streaming and games and everything. So It's just cool to hear him talk about the game that you're really interested in as well. So thanks for that, Day Nine. Thanks for that, Zohas. And yeah, let me know what you guys think about all this. Really interesting.